First up, we go to Miami, Florida for a sentencing from 2018. 33-year-old Derek Medina has been convicted of second-degree murder and child neglect. 3 years earlier, Medina got into an argument with his wife of 6 years, 27-year-old Jennifer Alfonso. According to Medina, Jennifer began attacking him. That's when Medina, who can be seen on this surveillance footage, grabbed a gun and shot Jennifer 8 times, killing her. He then posted a photo of Jennifer's lifeless body on social media with the caption, "I'm going to prison." Jennifer's 10-year-old daughter from a previous relationship, who the couple had been raising together, was in another room at the time of the shooting. Medina left the apartment and went to the local police station to turn himself in. When officers arrived back at the apartment, they found the child unharmed. Medina told police that Jennifer had been abusive throughout the relationship. He pled not guilty, and at trial argued he'd acted in self-defense. And after a trial lasting 2 weeks, they returned with a verdict.
We, the jury, find as follows. The defendant is guilty of second-degree murder.
Today, 2 months later, Medina appears before Judge Yvonne Kolodny to hear his sentence. But first, Jennifer's parents deliver victim impact statements to the court.
She wasn't just a victim. She wasn't just a body on the floor to be discovered. She was a wonderful, amazing person. She was very forgiving, funny, smart. She had so much to give. And now, unfortunately, that's gone. She was turning into the woman that she was gonna be. And that's not gonna happen now.
The notion that my daughter was violent or abusive is an insult to me and my family. That's a fantasy that he created. Words cannot express the pain and emotional anguish that the defendant has caused me. He changed the lives of family, friends, and most importantly, Jennifer's daughter forever.
Jennifer's uncle also makes a statement.
What kind of person posts a picture of their dead loved one's body and leaves a small child alone that possibly could discover her body? Derek Medina is that person.
When they're finished, Medina is given a chance to speak, but he offers no apology. Instead, he would maintain his innocence in a rambling statement about a corrupt world.
Focus Barack Obama president on this corrupted world that I will be suing. Focus, again, presidents and future presidents of the world, okay? I will be suing this world. And pretty much the point that I'm trying to make is I did not get fair trial. And I will be taking action, I will be suing. And I want Barack Obama to focus on corruption. Corruption is a big problem that we have in the United States of America and all over the world. God knows the truth and nothing further.
The judge went on to give Medina the maximum sentence for second-degree murder, life in prison. He'll be eligible for parole after serving 25 years of his sentence. He'd be 59 years old. For the child neglect charge, Medina was sentenced to an additional 5 years in prison. That sentence will run concurrently. Next, we go to a virtual hearing in Tampa, Florida. The defendant is 33-year-old B.J. Dreggers. He's been charged with fraud and petty theft for trying to pass bad checks. Today, he appears remotely before Judge Michael Williams to enter a plea. The state initially offered a deal where Dreggers would plead guilty and get sentenced to 18 months probation. If he decides to go to trial and is convicted, the former Marine could be looking at 5 years behind bars.
E.J. Draggers.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Your Honor.
Yeah, good morning. Last time we were in court, he was shooting up drugs on my Zoom.
That's right. 3 months earlier, while waiting for his preliminary hearing to begin, Draggers engaged in some illegal drug use. Judge Williams didn't watch it live, but a prosecutor did and shared it with the court. And the judge isn't happy about it.
Yes, sir. I apologize to yourself and the court for that, sir.
I only go so far, but
Yes, sir.
it's bad enough I got to put up with people smoking cigarettes and everything else. I don't need that.
No, sir.
I don't know. What's your resolution on him?
Draggers' attorney David Hall steps in to do some damage control.
In my conversations with him, he's been entirely professional, respectful, remorseful about his actions.
I instructed him to appear in person on 6/4/21, and he didn't. And then he shows back up on Zoom on June 15th, and that's when he's shooting up on the Zoom.
Despite the judge's remarks, Hall requests the court stick with the original deal of probation. But for Judge Williams, it's not that simple.
18 months of probation. He wants to resolve it to the court. I'll do it today for 180 days plus 18 months. I'm not taking probation today, and he gets out. I think I'm usually pretty relaxed on certain things, but you shoot up on my Zoom, that's different.
Mr. Draggers, the court is rejecting the plea agreement with the state, proposing 180 days in custody followed by 18 months probation. Is that something you want to do? The alternative would be to set it for trial.
Draggers doesn't love either of the choices, so he makes his own request.
Is there a way to have stricter probation or something of those guidelines?
No.
Draggers is given a month to discuss things with his attorney on how he wants to plead.
All right, Mr. Draggers, come on up.
Once again, he appears before Judge Williams, who, after doing some of his own reflecting, has a new outlook on the case.
Mr. Draggers, I've been thinking about your case. You're a veteran, correct?
Yes, sir, I am.
What branch?
Marine Corps.
All right. There's a once-a-year docket that I do, and it's called the Veterans Outreach Court. So
Yes, sir.
what I'm proposing is we set you on that Veterans Outreach Court docket.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Draggers appeared on the veterans docket, and the judge gave him a second chance. He's released and given 18 months probation, plus mandatory drug and alcohol testing.
Just work on getting clean and moving forward. Let's have a good ending to a bad situation, okay?
Hey, Judge, I appreciate everything you've done for me, sir.
You get clean, I'm happy.
Draggers is currently employed and taking steps to remain drug-free.
I once Haley is shot in the head.
Who shot her?
Next, we take you to a murder trial in Tampa, Florida. 20-year-old Jordan Silver has been charged with second-degree murder and first-degree attempted murder. 2 years earlier, Silver was working on the set of a music video for rapper Eric Gronowski. Also working on the set was 23-year-old Haley Cox, Eric's girlfriend.
And action.
The crew was shooting a kidnapping scene with fake blood and weapons when Silver took out a real gun equipped with a laser. Unprovoked, Silver allegedly shot Haley in the back of the head, while the director and crew watched in horror.
Why'd you do this? Why, man?
But Silver allegedly wasn't finished. He's accused of then pointing the gun at Eric. The rapper was shot twice, once in the chest and once in the leg. He was taken to the hospital and survived his injuries.
Good morning, Mr. Silver. How are you?
I'm all right. Good morning.
Silver was charged with murder and attempted murder and was looking at a possible life sentence. When asked at his arraignment how he wanted to plead, his response was unequivocal.
Yeah, I want to go to trial.
All right.
Silver claimed he wasn't the shooter and pled not guilty. On the first day of trial, Eric appeared as the state's star witness. But according to prosecutors, as he was being told where to sit, the rapper caused a scene, getting the attention of the judge.
What's the problem? Big problem, man. I'm the victim. I'm the victim. I'm the victim. Y'all want to cry?
Oh, really? You're in contempt of court. Take him into custody.
Judge Samantha Ward doesn't appreciate Eric's language and sentences him to 2 days in jail for contempt of court. The rapper has a few more things to say about the defendant as he's led out of the courtroom.
He was possessed. He was possessed. Take you victim, Jim. Damn, on my leg, dog. I got a bullet in my leg, dog.
2 days later, the judge allows Eric to return and take the stand. But now he's cuffed and dressed in orange prison garb.
Do you want to be here right now and having to do this?
I don't, but I'm only doing this for my girlfriend.
Did Haley get shot that night?
Yes. I watched Haley get shot in the head.
Who shot her?
Jordan.
Do you see Jordan here in the courtroom?
Yes.
If you can point him out.
Sure.
After both sides rested, it took the jury just 4 hours to return with a verdict. For the shooting of Eric, Silver was found guilty of first-degree attempted murder. For shooting Haley, Silver was found guilty of the lesser charge of manslaughter instead of second-degree murder, because the state was apparently unable to prove he acted with malice. Silver was sentenced to 40 years in a state prison. Next, we go to bond court in Miami-Dade County, Florida. Judge Mindy Glazer presiding. 41-year-old Benoit Antoine is charged with possession of a controlled substance and disorderly conduct in an establishment. The previous night, Antoine was arrested after being involved in an altercation at a taco restaurant in Miami Beach. This morning, he's in Judge Glazer's courtroom to establish if he qualifies to bond out of jail pending trial.
He's drunk, yelling at the other patrons, trying to fight him. He didn't want to leave. All right, count 1 is 2,500, count 2 is 500. Good luck to you, sir.
It seems like the hearing is over, but Antoine has a problem.
Yes, I just have an issue. I have money to pay for lawyers and the bonds. However, this night I had gotten robbed by the lady I was with, so I have nothing on me, no phone. I cannot reach anybody.
Sir, now is not the time to talk about the facts of your case. Speak to your lawyer. Did you say you have money to hire a private lawyer?
I would, but they took my credit card and everything. So right now, as of now, I have nothing to pay you. I will need to go home.
And it turns out money isn't the only reason Antoine needs to get home.
My dog is left alone at home. Is there any way I can go home tonight and pay for everything?
Does he want to give any numbers to verify his address to get him out sooner? Does he know anybody's phone number?
Yeah, it's just my dog. It's horrible.
No, do you know anyone's phone number?
No, she took my phone.
If Antoine can provide the name and phone number of someone who knows his address, it will help him get released. But he can't remember any phone numbers.
I'm sorry, I beg you. This poor dog is by himself, and I never got arrested in my life.
Do you know anyone at work who would have your address?
I'm independent. I don't have anyone at work. I don't have anyone at work. I own the house.
Please stop a second. Let him out without verification. He's okay. Let him out. He says he owns a home. What am I going to do?
I own a house. I own a car. I own everything. I own a dog. I mean, I pay you guys. I give you whatever you need back. My poor dog, please.
I'm letting you out for free with pre-trial services. You can get out for free.
Judge, you're going to waive the verification requirement. They should be able to release him from jail?
That would be amazing, and I just want to go back, take care of my dog.
And Judge Glazer wants to move on to her next case.
I let him out without verification. Can I move on to the next case?
You're gonna get out without verification, Mr. Anthony.
Yes, thank you so much. I guess I got it. Okay, thank you.
Antoine does own his apartment, as he stated in court. He was free on pretrial release pending trial on the possession and disorderly conduct charges. But 1 month later, all charges against him were dropped. Next, we go to a hearing in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The defendant is 32-year-old Ernest Birch. He's been charged with 5 counts of domestic violence against his former girlfriend. There's Birch in the white, and that's his ex-girlfriend in the striped dress. As part of his pretrial release, Birch was ordered to have no contact with the victim. But when the judge, Jeffrey Cohen, learns the former couple arrived for today's hearing together, he is not happy. The judge revokes the defendant's bond and orders Birch to be taken into custody. When Deputy Gerald Crowther comes over to assist, Birch avoids getting cuffed by stalling. Instead, according to witnesses, the defendant makes a special request. He asks his former girlfriend for a kiss. But the deputy does not let that happen. So Birch decides to kiss this courtroom goodbye instead. Crowther holds on, but Birch is determined to break free. Lucky for Crowther, he gets some help from 2 attorneys, neither of whom are part of the case. Meanwhile, the victim moves as far away from the action as possible. The 3 men struggle with Birch as he refuses to quit. Finally, 4 additional deputies arrive to help get the situation under control. Birch is removed from the courtroom and taken into custody. There were no major injuries suffered during the scuffle. The next day, Birch appears before Judge John Hurley to hear his new charges. In light of Birch's previous behavior, the judge is not taking any chances.
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm going to ask you to stand by right there, all right? Deputy, just stand by right there.
Birch looks amused by the added security, but his smile vanishes when the judge reads the new charges.
You've been charged with battery. Misdemeanor battery, count 1. Count 2, resisting arrest. Count 3, pretrial release, condition violation for domestic violence. I have a court order here from Judge Jeffrey Cohen, and that says that you are to be held without bond.
Birch was ordered to remain in custody until his trial because of his pretrial release violation. He eventually pled no contest to resisting arrest, battery, and violating the pretrial release condition. He was sentenced to 5 years in prison with credit for time served. The battery charge was dismissed. Next, we're in Miami, Florida for a sentencing hearing. 26-year-old Malcolm Foster has pled guilty to battery and strong-arm robbery. Almost 3 years earlier, police say Foster and another man, 29-year-old Jerome Taha, got into a confrontation with a man they'd met earlier that night. After they chased after him, the man threw coffee at Foster, and after a brief scuffle, Foster punched him, knocking him out. Foster and Taha left the scene, but minutes later they returned and, with the victim still unconscious and bleeding on the pavement, robbed him of cash and his cell phone. The victim suffered a cracked skull, but eventually recovered. A week later, Foster surrendered to police after seeing himself on surveillance footage made public. He was charged and released on $7,500 bond. Taha, whom Miami PD recognized on surveillance footage from a previous case, was arrested 2 weeks later and charged with battery and strong-arm robbery. Foster pleaded guilty and was set to be sentenced to 90 days in jail plus probation. Today, he officially enters his plea and offers an emotional apology to the court.
I've never been involved in anything, ever. It's just hard. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry.
As Foster struggles to contain his emotions, his mother approaches and asks the judge for leniency, sharing a recent family tragedy with the court.
Never a problem. He's a good son. It's just so unfortunate. And then my husband just committed suicide as a soldier. It's just rough.
Before Judge Robert Watson imposes sentence, the victim's attorney, Neil Kirch, asks the court to reject the plea deal and consider a lengthier sentence.
The force of the blow immediately rendered unconscious, causing him to fall and crack his head open on the sidewalk. They did not even check to see if he was alive.
Foster's attorney asked the judge via phone to stick with the negotiated sentence.
Judge, this is not a criminal. This is not a criminal. This is a good person that made a mistake.
But after Judge Watson watches footage of the attack, he decides to increase the sentence from 90 to 120 days, leaving Foster stunned. When leaving the courtroom, the defendant's mother makes it clear she disagrees with the sentence. After serving his 120 days in jail, Foster will be on probation for 4 years. He must also write an apology to the victim and complete an anger management course. As for his associate, Jerome Taha, who was already on probation for an unrelated charge, he also pled guilty to battery and strong-arm robbery and was sentenced to 9 additional years of probation. Next, we go to Panama City, Florida for a probation violation hearing. 46-year-old Justin Thomason has pled no contest to resisting arrest with violence, battery of a law enforcement officer, driving with a suspended license, and other charges. A year and a half earlier, police say Thomason was pulled over for driving 59 in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. When asked for his license and registration, Thomason provided a passport. And when he refused to exit the vehicle and resisted officers, even kicking one in the stomach, he was arrested and charged. He pled no contest and was sentenced to 18 months probation and 100 hours of community service. But 5 months later, Thomason was arrested again for driving with a suspended license. He was released on bond and allowed to continue his probation until his next court date. Today, Thomason appears before Judge Brantley Clark to hear if his probation will be revoked. He's represented by attorney Gary Pack, who's negotiated a deal with the state.
We worked out an agreement in this case, and the probation will be extended 24 months from the original date. All prior conditions of the original plea agreement still reinstated.
All right, Mr. Thomason, state your name.
I'd like to grant my name to this court, sir.
What, sir?
I'd like to grant the name to this court. I have my disclaimer here. Can we give this to the clerk?
It seems Thomason is trying to make a sovereign citizen argument, which Judge Brantley has already made clear at a previous hearing he won't consider. At today's hearing, Thomason's lawyer tries to get things back on track.
All right, look, you signed this thing.
I signed it.
Okay, you signed it, and you agreed to abide by probation. Is that correct?
I guess I don't have much of a choice.
Yes, you do.
Under duress. I'll do it because I don't have a choice.
Can I have a few minutes with him?
I'm thinking about revoking his release and just taking him into custody. Putting you back in jail.
Really? Why? What would you like me to do, sir?
Answer the questions. Tell me your name. Don't do all this nonsense of what you're doing, okay?
Reed Thomason.
And you're trying your best to go to prison.
No, I'm not. I'm trying.
Yes, sir, you are.
Trying my best to be free.
No, sir, you're not. What you're trying your best to do is go to prison. Now, and that's exactly what's going to happen if you don't pay attention to what you're doing. And I am willing to put you back on probation right now. And the only thing it will cost you is an extra $250 over the probationary period. If that's what you want to do?
Yes, sir.
We'll find that Mr. Thomas's admission was freely and voluntarily made. His sentence is extended 24 months from the original sentence date. All conditions that are reimposed.
The judge extended Thomason's probation to 2 years, but 4 months later, he was pulled over again for driving without tags, and then arrested for driving with a suspended license. He then appeared again before Judge Brantley to see if his probation would be revoked.
Mr. Thomason, you wish to have an attorney appointed to represent you today?
So they were staking out my house, and I don't understand why. I was going to get some food.
I'm going to revoke your release at this time and take you into custody for a violation of probation. Take you into custody.
I'm here to finalize that disclaimer that I have. It's here now, sir. If you
Take him into
would
custody.
accept it, please.
I'm revoking your release. You should have been held without bond. He's going to be held without bond.
I'm not going anywhere.
Put him in the box.
You're taking me away from the family.
Put him in the box.
Fine.
Put him in the box.
Thomason is being held without bond, and his cases are pending. If found guilty of all charges, he could be facing a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison.